Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind. And now, the Freedom Reporters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. The winds of political change are a-blowing. We've seen that overnight in Britain, where we now have a new government, a new prime minister. We're seeing it happen right here in Canada, even with Justin Trudeau. I told you his days are numbered, and we have more evidence of that I will share with you tonight. Also, big changes in Montreal, where that encampment at Square Victoria, that pro-Palestinian encampment, has been dismantled. And there's more to the story. Dragon is on the scene at McGill University tonight. He will be joining us live from the scene momentarily, right after this.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back, and we're about to bring Dragon in as well. But before we do that, I'll just tee all of this information up for you. This story, that pro-Palestinian encampment at Square Victoria in downtown Montreal that was set up last month, it was dismantled. The dismantling by police began this morning around 4 a.m. Rise and shine, protesters. It's time to move on. Of course, police moving in there sort of early morning when people were sleeping, most likely because that would be the safest time to do it, when they would encounter the least amount of resistance. As a result of this, an 18-year-old man was arrested at the scene, according to the police. The man allegedly pointed a laser into the eyes of police officers a few days ago. One of the officers was temporarily injured as a result of that altercation. The mayor today held a news conference. Mayor Valerie Plante, she said the decision to dismantle the camp was not taken lightly. She went on to say that a demonstration cannot permanently occupy a public site. You can't occupy a public site no matter what the cause. Public space must remain public, which is what I've been saying. If you're restricting access to a public place. It is not legal, nor is it right. So they're facing the consequences of that. You want to have a protest, go ahead and protest, but they really got themselves into a pickle and ultimately evicted from the public space because they were preventing other people, members of the public, from accessing the public space. The mayor went on to say the encampment, she says, did not allow free circulation and free access to the population, to the blue-collar workers, firefighters, and police officers who are there to ensure the safety of everyone within the camp, outside and around. Now, additionally, the mayor said that the encampment violated municipal bylaws, which prompted the decision to dismantle the encampment peacefully today. And it appears there was very little, ultimately, resistance or confrontation, as I say, by going in there at 4 a.m. It's it's sleepy time, so you're not going to encounter as much resistance from the protesters because they're going to be asleep when you arrive, generally speaking. Not to say that all of them were. The protesters are accusing police of being very aggressive today. Of course, they were there. I don't know how many weeks they were there. 2-3 weeks since the middle of last month, approximately. And at one point, they actually tried to topple the statue of Queen Victoria in the park, and it has been vandalized, as you are about to see in this footage that we're going to share with you now from the scene where Dragon has been all day. This is what it looks like at Victoria Park, where things have been cleared out. Let's bring Dragon in, and he can help us. Hello, sir. This is the footage you shot just a short time ago. You're at McGill University live, but this is footage from the park just a short time ago. Can you tell us what we're looking at here, Dragon?
What you're looking at is actually where the encampment was. So this part of the turf or the lawn that you can see there was inaccessible for nobody, while the encampment was right there. So this were basically the territory of the pro-Palestine encampment in the Square Victoria Park right there. And as you can see there, this is the beautiful Queen Victoria who has been vandalized. And as you can see, that's not the only thing who has been vandalized around, but yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
So
this
a
was
lot
a
of
part where
graffiti.
they were.
A lot of graffiti there. And what are we looking at there? Now, is there normally grass there? Has that been damaged, or is that just the way it always is?
There's supposed to be grass around there, but probably has been damaged because of the passage of the pro-Palestinian that was there since the 22 of June. So was
My
about
goodness.
2 weeks now. So yeah.
And you can see that they do not like the government. They don't like, well, this is anti-colonialist, anti-settler. That would be us and anybody that's not indigenous, I guess.
Mm. And one of the guy that was part of the pro-Palestinian encampment at the Square Victoria Park was none other than a one of Montreal's he was part of the Coalition Quebec party. So yeah, I mean you see that in Montreal.
So what is the Coalition Quebec Montreal, or what's that party? I'm not really familiar with them.
Well, me neither. I mean, sometime I mixed up with other guys, but Coalition Quebec. Let's see about these. So yeah, if I do remember well, it was Paul Bernardette who's part of the Coalition Quebec
Coalition
party.
Avenir Quebec, is that what it is? Is that the
Yep,
CAQ?
yep, that's the one.
Okay, they're a Quebec nationalist party, I guess, founded by former Parti Québécois Cabinet Minister Francois Legault.
Yep. And
Yeah.
you got some of the people that was part of, well, one of the guys that is part of this party actually was contributing to this encampment at so yeah,
Mm,
this is kind of weird, right? So you got all that type of thing going on, and also there's another thing that I will probably put
right.
your attention to. One of the protester here, Karim, Karim, what was it?
Kareem
What was
Saad?
her name? Yeah, she
Yeah.
actually stated that they are strong and they don't want to go around anywhere till the demand has been met, or well, we'll see what's going to happen because probably there's going to be some police intervention also. So
Okay.
yeah,
So you're there. So the encampment now at Square Victoria cleared out. Um, I mean, and even though you've seen some literature, I guess, being passed out for certain political groups like the CAQ, it's clear to see that there are a variety of political forces attached to this in a variety of ways and to a varying level of degrees. What's happening tonight at McGill? Is there any indication that an injunction will be issued there to clear these protesters out, or is it still growing?
it's still growing, actually. As you can see, there's a portion here behind me that was not there like 2 weeks ago or a week even ago. So it's growing day by day. Also, there's another march tonight that's gonna be around here around 8 o'clock, arriving here, and I think there's going to be a questioning portion or a press conference around. So we'll see about that. So.
Okay, so are you going to stick around for that? Will you,
Sure.
yeah, going to bring us some live coverage of this rally or whatever it is that, however they're describing that? I assume they're going to have what, like, I guess we don't know, but it sounds like maybe a march or something,
Yeah, they do
or maybe
usually a
speeches.
march, but yeah, they do march and speeches. But the thing is that it's always happening every weekend. So let's say about what's going on tonight, because normally on the Friday night they don't do march.
Hmm.
So there's probably going to be eat a little bit here, and well,
So yeah, so they're
this is
gonna.
not what I'm willing to see. But I mean, if things get eat up, well, I'll be here to show you the footage and follow that.
Okay, and so these protesters here at McGill are just like the protesters we saw at Square Victoria. They're demanding that I guess they want the university to divest
Yeah.
from any, I guess, military
Yeah, it's
companies.
military, mostly Israel armament from the money incentive that they send on broad. So yeah, this
And
is
they
what it
want
is.
and I think that are they also asking for divestment from any Israeli companies or Jewish companies, or do we
Yeah.
know?
Well, if you look, for example, what happened in Victoria Park, they were in front of the Canadian Case Desjardins. So what is that meaning is that they are giving money to those company and probably like how they call Lockheed Martin and such. So yeah, this is why they want investment or the divestment of that money around and not to be divest in those company. So this is why you see they think that because of that money that was laundered probably from those compartment and with the government, you see those poor people getting killed abroad, and this is why they are doing this. So
So they say. So I understand that they've even decided that they are no longer giving the fire department access to the grounds for
yeah,
inspections to keep them safe. They're not even letting the fire department in there.
Yeah, it was stated that this morning on McGill Encampment they didn't let the fire department service to come in just to make sure that everything was fine. So
Huh.
yeah, what normally
So
they do, as I had been told, but
no,
now
well,
it's
see, yeah, this is where I really start to have issues, just from a position of fact and ethics. It's illegal. You can't. They have no legal right to restrict access to the public, let alone to like firefighters who are just there to do their jobs to make sure that there are no fire code violations so that people don't get hurt. I wonder if there's a fire that breaks out, would they let the firefighters in at that point to assist them? I
I'm pretty sure that they will, but at this point, I think that the authority will just say no longer you will be allowed to do so because you're probably more of a burden and a problematic because you can probably put fire everywhere around here now.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure that they'll say, well, the fire department is just coming here to find some violation so they can shut us down. But the other reality is, if they're not if they're in violation of fire codes, then it's not safe. And if it's not
Yeah.
safe, then they should be making the corrections so that everyone there is safe. Um, I that I don't know. Again, for me, it's problematic when, as soon as because they're not just protesting, now they're seizing control of land, seizing control of property. They're seizing control of property that is in the control of and the care of the university. This becomes a problem when they're restricting access, saying only, oh, you can come in, you can't come in. This is where they're going to get into trouble legally.
And I'm asking also myself if what Karim said at some point, one of the spokesperson for the McGill encampment said that this is an intimidation tactic for McGill student, uh, to get evicted. So, I mean, are they probably thinking that they are going in there just to look at problematic to, get rid of them more easily?
Mm.
I mean, this is probably what they think, and this is probably one reason why they wouldn't let them come in. But this is just my assumption. So,
Okay, sir. Let's take a break. We'll put all of this over to the side for a moment so you can regroup and get yourself situated for whatever it is that they're going to do at 8 p.m. and then we can come back to you live again at that time and we'll get an update from you live
sure,
from McGill University. Thank
roger that.
you. Thank you, Dragon. We'll check back in with you very soon. Okay, Dragon on the scene, doing a great job as usual. Thank you, Dragon, for doing that. And we will check back in with him. And I'm just looking in the chat here a little bit. And Joe says, Marxists do that kind of stuff, Rick. Yeah. Yes, they do. They do indeed. What other comments are we seeing tonight about the encampment? A few different things. Joe again earlier said, would government act like they do if they wouldn't feel above the law? Yeah. And Sandy, does Sandy have a comment? She says, Friday Mavericks. Hello. Yeah. So we have all kinds of other news to share with you tonight. Stay with me and we'll dig into it on the other side. Don't go away.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so yesterday, July 4th, happy birthday, America, a day late. I did say happy birthday yesterday, though, so it's not really belated. It's just repeated. I was saying, happy birthday. A lot of people excited and happy and smiling and enjoying the fireworks. But there were also protests, some pretty big ones and some pretty intimidating ones in New York City. In particular, there was this one where pro-Palestinian protesters ran through Manhattan chanting "Revolution, Revolution, and Death to America" as they lit up flares. I'll tell you, this stuff, it doesn't, how can I put this? It concerns me. All right, July 4th. There's no pride in the nation here, I'll tell you that. Look at this footage. So they're running through the streets, literally shouting and screaming, calling for a revolution. At times, at some of these protests, they were openly calling for a violent revolution and literally shouting at times, "Death to America." By extension, I think that means the West. And you can see all of this on full display on social media. There's a ton of posts tonight from July 4th, not patriotic stuff. Well, there's quite a bit of that too, but a lot of protesters, anti-American protesters, not just pro-Palestinian, anti-American. Here, let's just bring this up and scroll through together. Just take a quick look at what's going on Twitter. Show you what I'm talking about. You find a lot of this on TikTok too. And it's not just Palestinian protests. It's not just that. It's a variety of other causes as well. Now, like here's a white supremacy march in Philadelphia. Now I'll say democracy is messy, and I am all about freedom, but once certain lines are crossed, I do start to get worried. Here's a protest outside the U.S. Embassy. There we can, let's bring this up, shall we? Sure, why not? Let's enlarge this. Let it roll.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No justice! No peace! No justice!
Yeah. Still scrolling. That's old. That's from 2020. That is, that was someone organizing a national protest for the independence and freedom of America back on July 4th of 2020. Of course, that was during the pandemic, and at that time they were promoting that as something that was legal during times of lockdowns and restrictions, saying this is a protest, not a celebration, so it's allowed. So you had to protest in order to celebrate America at that time. Makes me wonder sometimes if we were really being conditioned at that time for everything coming now. Here's a confrontation. This happening. Well, we're seeing a confrontation between, let's say, pro-Israel versus pro-Palestinian, or anti-Israel versus anti-Palestine. All I know is we're seeing the flag burned here. Maybe anti-American, pro-American.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
This is Freedom News TV. There's my anti-American friend, Fat Lava, who wants to destroy the West and freedom. He hates America, he hates the West, he hates freedom. Thank you, Fat Lava, for your comments tonight. And Joe, yeah, I agree with you. I absolutely do understand that they are Marxists. 100%. I've been saying that for a while, actually. Those people are, these are the Occupy group. It's the Antifa group. It is Black Lives Matter. It's far left, Marxist, liberal fascists. That's who these people are actually out there. And do you have anything else you want to say there, Fat Lob? I'll put it all up on the screen. Everything you want to say. I'll share all of your comments right here, right now. Go for it. You know Trump is going to declare on Iran whatever it takes to preserve freedom, my friend. What else you got for me? You're all about what? You like burning the flag? You want to burn it all down? You're with the Marxists, the far left fascists. Trump is a Zio shill? Yeah, well, what do you mean by Zionist? Because that's kind of code these days for I'm a great big fat racist pig. That's kind of what that is. It's just like all left-wing Marxist fascists, you're twisting words and redefining them. So you better provide a definition if you're going to use that word here. Come on. What do you got? Yeah, he hates it. Yeah, like Joe is saying, does Fat Laba hate America? Of course he does. He despises it. He likes it when they burn the flag. He wants to burn the Canadian flag. He wants to burn the country down. That's what Fat Laba wants. That's what he's endorsing. He likes terrorism. He is actually an online internet terrorist. I mean, the state of Israel stealing 95% of land. That's because you don't really know your history. You don't understand at all what the United Nations did when the world created Israel and voted for it. And that Palestine was never a country to begin with. Because you don't have the education, your head is just full of hate, and you've been indoctrinated. So you still want to you still want to keep going? You hate your country because you've been listening to extremists, and you like it when they burn the flag because you hate your own country. I'm sure you probably hate yourself. Fat Laba. Because you don't have a clue. I know that in 1948, Israel was ratified by the United Nations, and since then, they have created nothing. No, actually, you go back and you can find newspaper clippings, and it's the other way around. The Arab states around Israel refused to accept Israel as a state and declared war immediately, and it's been that way ever since. It wasn't the other way around. And they had many opportunities to establish a Palestinian state alongside Israel, but rejected it at every turn. And it's right in their doctrine. They want to wipe Israel off the face of the planet, from the river to the sea, which you endorse because you hate your country and you hate Israel. You hate the West. You hate freedom. You'd rather live under an authoritarian regime and give up every bit of your freedom and have no rights at all. That's really what's at the core of this, because this isn't just about Gaza and it isn't just about Palestine. This is about a global communo-fascist revolution, which Gaza was really used to spark. That's what's really going on, and you're part of it, either wittingly or unwittingly, just like the members of parliament in Canada who are compromised right now and have been identified by CSIS and the RCMP, and they know who they are, but they're not telling us because our own government has been infiltrated by people just like you. Just like you, but we know who you are because you're here right now exposing yourself with some pseudo name, Fat Laba. So get your facts straight and then come back and we'll have a longer discussion. Respectfully, sir. I know that Churchill said it was one of his greatest regrets that he condemned the native people of Gaza to the same fate as the Aborigines and the Red Indians. Yeah, well, you see, that's also a narrative that doesn't really hold water today because you really don't know your history, nor do you understand the implications of what will happen in this country, Canada, if you get what you actually want and burn this all down. You should really be careful what you ask for because you might just get it. And I'd be happy to have a further discussion with you at another time, but we do need to move on to other stories tonight. Just try not to burn the whole country down between today and tomorrow, because I'd like to come back and continue with the broadcast tomorrow and into next week. I'd like to kind of keep the country, you know? So, you know, if you just, you know, back off a little bit, you know, tap the brakes on the revolution stuff just a bit before it gets out of hand and people get hurt. Could we do that? Let's just do that. Let's keep it peaceful and stop burning crap and vandalizing crap and learn some damn history, some real history, and maybe stop listening to all these historical revisionists who are rewriting our history and stripping us of our culture and everything that makes us Canadian and binds us together, all of us, instead of pitting everybody against each other and making everybody ashamed to be a Canadian or an American, which is the last bastion of freedom in the whole damn world. Maybe try taking a little pride and finding some positivity in things and some real solutions to things instead of coming in here and spouting off with a bunch of talking points that are rooted in historical revisionism, which is only leading to exactly what we're seeing in the streets. You have nothing to hide. Well, that's good, because I was going to mention that, actually. A lot of these people do have a lot to hide. That's why they wear their keffiyehs or their masks, or they hide behind those black umbrellas, those Antifa people who are out there posing as pro-Palestinian protesters, because this is really just the protest du jour. This is just the cause du jour, the cause of the day. They are just a bunch of Marxists and liberal fascists. That's what they are. It's part of a global communist revolution. Communo-fascist, looping around. It's like all the intolerant, hateful people from both sides of the political spectrum are coming together, converging, coming together on campuses to rip up the whole country and tear it all down and burn those flags. What a great time. Great activity for 4th of July. That's why, our own government flying the flag here in Canada at half-mast, half-staff, based on information and complaints that are not really rooted in facts either. And that is demonstrable. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the BS. Really tired of it. Because it's not true. It's just not true. Zionism? That's just you liberal, fascist bigots twisting the word and redefining it so that it actually means not just Jews, but people who like Jews. Anybody that stands with Jews. Or really, by extension, even capitalists, people who love freedom, anybody in the West. Let's tear it all down. You get to basically apply Zionism or Zionist to anybody you just don't like, that doesn't conform or comply with your political ideology. And you like to restrict freedom. You're supporting right now restricting everyone's freedom. You're sitting here endorsing a bunch of protesters who are occupying space, taking over space, seizing land, seizing property, because they don't respect property rights. They don't respect your rights as an individual. They don't respect my rights as an individual. They don't respect anybody's rights. You're not allowed to go in there. A public place, a public park, Square Victoria in Montreal. No, you can't come in. You can't come in. You're Jew. You can't come in. Oh, yeah, I was told by somebody who spoke to me on the phone, they're just there. They don't let those people in because they're trying to keep the peace. No, they're not letting them in because they're bigots. They're not letting them in because they're Jews. They're not letting them in. They don't let Dragon in at times because they don't think that he might not be on their side. So he's not allowed. He might have a different point of view. So shut him up and shut him down. That's not right. That's certainly not freedom. If you believe in freedom, you don't endorse that. And that's what you're doing, Fat Lobby. You're endorsing authoritarianism, collectivism, Marxism, neoliberal fascism. You're a fascist. Everybody thinks that a Nazi is just somebody who exterminates Jews. There's more to it than that. It's about being fascism comes in a variety of forms. Fascism is the bundling of sticks, each stick representing a group or a political position, a plank in a political platform. You bind them together. And the more of the different elements that you bind together, the theory is it becomes stronger. Well, fascists, they bind together all these negative things, that they divide everybody into different groups, just like the communists, the Marxists, the cultural Marxists, cultural Marxism. But they take all those groups that were divided into through identity politics on whether you're gay or you're straight or you're you're black or you're white or this group or that group, and they group these things together, but there's always the Jews over here that they use as the scapegoat, or another minority that they use as the scapegoat and demonize. And then you attack them and hate them, and then you blame all the problems on them. And the group, the collective, can do no wrong. The government can do no wrong. It's always just that one group. Anything that the government does or the people in charge of that political collective does that's wrong, they just use that group to deflect their wrongdoing onto that group. Everything they do, oh, it's the Jews. They're the problem for everything. It's all their fault. That's what you are, sir. You are a fascist. If you are supporting what's going on there, where they're restricting access, restricting people's freedoms, no respect for people's rights whatsoever, then you are a fascist. It is just that simple. You're supporting fascism. Do you get it? No, you probably don't, because you're sitting here spewing this hatred and this crap that is just not true. Oh, you think that it all started in Nazi Germany and World War? No, it started much earlier than that. And it comes from various places around the world. Not just from Mein Kampf. It comes from the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which goes back to the early 1900s, like 1903. Where did that come from? Not Nazi Germany, my friend. That came from Russia. The roots of the Marxism. That's where the anti-Semitism, the anti-Jew, all of that comes from. This word Zion, Zionism. Yeah, that's a word that's rooted in all of this, because it was used as a word to describe the quest for a homeland for Israel, for Jews who had been scattered around the world and persecuted and victimized, murdered in pogroms that came long before the Holocaust. And now you're twisting that word, recycling old tropes, not from Nazi Germany, but from the old Soviet Empire, anti-Jew sentiments, anti-Jew tropes. That's what you're doing there, Fat Lava, and you don't even know it. Yeah, make some cartoon claim to Holy Land? That's because you don't understand law. You don't understand international politics. You don't understand what it takes to create an actual nation state. You don't understand, and you don't know your history. You're just regurgitating the vile bile that you've been fed by a bunch of evil people who keep spewing this crap online, recycling all this old hatred, destroying our country, dividing people into groups so that we're all fighting with each other out in the streets. Repeating the mistakes of the past. I guess we've learned absolutely nothing from these world conflicts, World Wars I and II. Here we go again, folks. Wake the F up. I'm so tired of this. It's people walk around, I'm awake. Are you awake? I know what I'm doing. No, you know what? I've been telling everybody you got one eye closed. You're only half awake. If you're awake at all. Yeah, well, you got to go a little bit further than the Balfour Declaration, my friend. Congratulations, you know a word. You've been around a long time, and I appreciate you being here, but don't spew hate and go get your facts straight. Because this place is about freedom, and what you're spewing right now is not about freedom at all. It's the opposite. And I think a lot of people are confused by it because you've been exposed. Everybody's being exposed to so much of this very powerful rhetoric, this recycled rhetoric, which has been repackaged with using these cultural Marxist tricks to screw with your minds. And I told you, like everybody here a year ago, that all of this talk about the elites, they were using the word elite in a lot of this during the pandemic and post-pandemic, the word elites, using it in a variety of ways, in a variety of contexts. But ultimately, I said, you watch, they're going to, all this bad stuff about the vaccines, the pandemic itself, the lockdowns, the authoritarian measures government's taking, these wars, they're going to blame it all on the Jews, and they're going to pivot and twist that word around. They're just going to take that word and they're going to start saying, they're going to start, instead of using the word elite, they're going to start using Zionist and Jew at times, just coming right out and saying it. And that's exactly what they've done, so that they can blame all of our problems on the Jews again, because it's the easiest scapegoat and it's the oldest story. And that's the truth. And October 7th was the catalyst for all of this. And what's going on in Gaza is not just about Gaza. It's about everything going on here. That's why I showed you that video of those people going through the streets of New York City, literally calling for a revolution. You think they're joking? No, they're not. And there are many other layers to this. So you all need to wake up, because as I've been saying for a couple of months now, we are literally now under attack. This country is under attack. And if you think that this country is intolerant, violent, you're quite mistaken. And the evidence of that can be seen on the campuses, where we are literally under attack, political attack. And how are we responding as a society? Our government, our society is allowing them to stay there even as they break the law, not just for a few days, but for months before any real action is taken, even though they're violating the rights of other people. Because we take freedom of speech so seriously here that we are willing to go to extreme lengths to protect the free speech of people who are even violating the rights of other people while they claim to be exercising free speech. But going well beyond that. And so we're very tolerant here. We are a kind, tolerant, and caring society. And we do go out of our way to make sure that people are allowed to protest. But they are not tolerant. They want free speech for them, but not for you. Two sets of rules. And then you sit there and you complain about our government and our system, saying, well, there's 2 tiers of justice. Yeah, there are. It's right there on the campus. And if you're supporting that, then you're supporting what the problem with our system is at times, when you allow people like that to hijack the system. But the system itself isn't the problem. The system is, if anything, maybe a little too tolerant at times, because they're allowing people to violate other people's rights. So probably long time overdue clearing those protesters out from Square Victoria in Montreal, in my opinion. And no, the Jews are not responsible, Steve, for every aspect of mass immigration. Quite the opposite. I know that they get blamed for it because they don't want to be living next to a bunch of people who want to kill them all. So they're pushed into a position here where they're trying to deal with a hostile neighbor that literally launches thousands and thousands of rockets at them that they have to shoot down out of the sky so that they're not annihilated. So yeah, they want them out. If somebody was shooting rockets at your house for decades, wouldn't you want them out too? Wouldn't you do something about it? I can understand that, if they don't want to live in peace. And I'm not justifying any of the killing on either side, but I understand. And it's not the mass immigration here, they're not coming from just Gaza. The immigrants are coming from all over the world. And a lot of Muslim immigration, yes, but it's not all from Gaza. Why is that happening? That's for a variety of other reasons, and it's for a further discussion. And it is an issue because our system, our society can't handle it all. It's too much of a burden. It's happening too quickly and probably not in a balanced manner. and it's transforming our society demographically, which is also extremely disruptive and probably not even fair to a lot of people. But that's for another discussion. But don't come here and try to tell me that you're about freedom while you're endorsing, supporting protests that are clearly all about authoritarianism, collectivism, and violating people's rights. A direct assault on our society, on freedom itself. This is an assault on freedom itself. Contrary to everything that this channel is about, that our country has ever been about, that our country was founded on, where we have taken tolerance to a level where Trudeau says we have to go beyond tolerance. That's what's happening here now. We're going beyond tolerance to a point where it's destroying our country. And he's the poster child for all of this. He's confused himself. I just watched his Canada Day address. Happy Canada Day. And then he talks in terms of revisionist history. It's not about the history of Canada anymore. It's like our history started long before the beginning of Canada. And then it's all about land back and colonialism, and he's embraced all of that. And he himself, his head is all messed up. That's why he's such an ineffective leader. That's why he is the worst prime minister in Canadian history, because he doesn't know his history. He's got the revisionist history in his head, the anti-colonial history, yet he's a typical Canadian of his generation. This is why everything is screwed up, because he's got all the anti-colonialist history in his head, yet he's the colonialist and the leader of the colonialists. So he's trying to preserve the colonialism, preserve the country, while at the same time undoing it all and burning it all down, reforming it all in a new world order. Which the New World Order is what Fat Laba is endorsing. It's on the campuses right now. You think it's our government doing it? It kind of is, because you've got this crazy mixed up prime minister who's the poster child for the world's first post-national state. It's screwed up. It doesn't work. The country is unraveling. It's being destroyed, and that's exactly what our adversaries around the world want. They want chaos here. They want the country torn down. They want it all burned to the ground. And you know what? They've got you doing it to yourself. They don't need to invade us because you're doing the dirty work for them, Fat Laba. And you don't even realize it. You think you're being virtuous. You think you're being smart. You're being so stupid that you don't even know how stupid you're being. But that's not your fault, because you've been exposed to this, to the world's most sophisticated psyop ever through the internet. They filled your heart with hate and you don't even realize it. There's a line that we can't cross, and so many of us have already crossed it. A line of hatred, fear of the other. We have to stop this and embrace what it really means to be Canadian. First Nations in this country, the Indigenous people of this country, will not be protected by this New World Order. Quite the opposite. It's the colonialism that actually will save them in Canada, whether they realize it or not. They need the Canadian government to preserve their sovereignty as nations within the nation. If the New World Order proceeds through UNDRIP, if these protests on campus are successful and we go through this cultural Marxist, liberal fascist revolution, those First Nations will have to start all over from ground zero. Everything starts all over again if the system is torn down. You think that the treaties that have been signed and agreed to involving over 600 First Nations across this country will be honored by a bunch of new immigrants from other countries who are internationally Indigenous? They're not going to give a monkey's fart about any of the treaties that were signed previously. And the First Nations of this country will, their very sovereignty as nations within a nation, will be threatened. They're not going to respect anybody's land rights. You will own nothing and you will be very unhappy. The First Nations people will own nothing. All of us will own nothing because we will have a collectivist society, a collectivist government. That's where all of that is going. That's what they want. Zionism is code for anti-American, anti-West, anti-capitalist, anti-freedom, anti-everything that ever has been America, everything that ever has been Canada. They want to tear it all down, folks. And you to do it for them. The sad thing is, a lot of you are. Remember Ronald Reagan.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV,
The entire world is watching.
on social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Embrace your flag, embrace your country, embrace your freedom. But don't cross the line. Don't cross the line into hate. Do it out of love. Do it out of tolerance. But don't go beyond tolerance. It's a difficult thing to navigate, but we can do it together. Let's bring Dragon back in. Hello, sir. It is now 8 p.m., 8:01 p.m. Eastern Time. What is going on there at McGill?
Well, no sign of any march, but I've seen a few of the protesters going in a certain direction outside of the encampment. So, not sure if it's could be a good idea to follow around.
Okay. So not really. So there is. You're not sure where they are? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, there's nobody's coming right now at the McGill encampment, but there's a group of about 5 people who went in that direction, and I don't know. I might. I feel lucky right now if I follow around. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but let's see what's going on.
Well, while you're walking, I can chat with you about some of the other news of the day. Just a brief mention here. I guess some people are telling me that the protest out there on the side of the highway outside of Red Deer, Alberta, I guess it's been dismantled. The people who had been there for how many months, like 3 months or something, they finally just packed it in. So that's a new development. And then we have, that election from Britain overnight. So we've got a new government over there.
Yeah.
So we've got Keir Starmer as the new prime minister, and this is what it looked like last night. Let me bring this up, and I'll run this video of Rishi Sunak conceding. And here we go. We'll just run this so you can hear it.
Rishi
Labour.
Sunak, Conservative Party, 23,059. Lee Martin Taylor, Reform UK, 7,142. Thomas James Wilson, commonly known as Tom Wilson, Labour Party, 10,874. I hereby declare that Rishi Sunak is duly elected. Congratulations, and he may address the stand.
For the Prime Minister and the Chancellor, both keeping their seats.
Good morning. Could I start by thanking the returning officer and all the team who've been working here at the count and at the polling stations today. You make our democracy possible. I'd also like to thank the police who have ensured that we can conduct this ballot here in North Yorkshire, but also across the country in safety. On this difficult night, I'd like to express my gratitude to the people of the Richmond and North Allerton constituency for your continued support. Since I moved here a decade ago, you have made me and my family feel so at home, and I look forward to continuing to serve as your Member of Parliament. It is an enormous privilege. I'm grateful to my agent and constituency team, and I congratulate my opponents here on the energetic and very good-natured campaigns that they have run. The Labour Party has won this general election, and I have called Sir Keir Starmer to congratulate him on his victory. Today, power will change hands in a peaceful and orderly manner, with goodwill on all sides. That is something that should give us all confidence in our country's stability and future. The British people have delivered a sobering verdict tonight. There is much to learn and reflect on, and I take responsibility for the loss. To the many good, hard-working Conservative candidates who lost tonight, despite their tireless efforts, their local records of delivery, and their dedication to their communities, I am sorry. I will now head down to London, where I will say more about tonight's result before I leave the job of Prime Minister, to which I have given my all. I will then return here, to my family's home, and I look forward to spending more time with you all in the weeks, months, and years ahead. Thank you.
Okay. So what do you think? We've got a new Labour Party government in Britain. It's a reflection, I think, Dragon, of people concerned about mass immigration.
Yeah. Well, some people will argue that it is part of the globalist agenda that is unfolding in UK. So.
Yes. And the new Prime Minister, well, let me just show you the results here, first of all, on this graph of what the results in Britain were last night. Or actually, that's not the right one, so let me just not show you that. Here's a brief clip of the new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. That name almost sounds intimidating to me. But when you listen to this guy, he seems sort of very bland to me, not very charismatic. Let's see.
And it is surely clear to everyone that our country needs a bigger reset, a rediscovery of who we are, because no matter how fierce the storms of history, one of the great strengths of this nation has always been our ability to navigate a way to calmer waters. And yet this depends upon politicians, particularly those who stand for stability and moderation, as I do, recognizing when we must change course. For too long now, we've turned a blind eye as millions slid into greater insecurity. And it is surely clear to everyone that our country needs a bigger reset.
Isn't that interesting that he says that his country needs a bigger, and then he uses the word reset? That instantly concerns me.
Yeah, me too.
And this guy is a progressive. He's a liberal. He is much further to the left. I don't know how far left he goes, if he dips into that liberal fascist territory, or if he's just a progressive. But all the progressives these days, I mean, this guy, from what I'm seeing, might just be the UK version of Justin Trudeau. I'm not sure that the voters have really found a solution at all.
Well, I was thinking exactly the same thing just by listening to this guy. So, yeah, you read my mind here. Is it a Justin Trudeau, but from another country?
He just, I'm a little worried about that. But judge people by their actions, judge these politicians by what they do. Now, Trudeau himself, here's his reaction to the UK election. And he's got some big problems here on the home front tonight, Dragon. But we'll get into this first. He says here on his Twitter account, had my first of many calls with Prime Minister Keir Starmer this afternoon. We're aligned on so much, from the need for more progressive politics to defending democracy at home and abroad. We're going to get a lot done together. Oh my God. Oh no! No!
We already have some bromance going on here.
Oh, what have you done, Britain? Oh my God. I know that Rishi Sunak has been a bit of a problem, but I think maybe you've just made things worse. I don't know. Down here, there's this this meme account, Justin Trudeau's Ego, and they posted in response to all of this today. Progressive politics is code for making your life less affordable while we turn society insane. And that's exactly what we're going to do. It's because it's like a Justin Trudeau impersonation account. Yeah. Oh man. We're in deep trouble.
Yeah. I know so many people in my surrounding tells me how much it's been distressing for them, psychologically speaking, with the past 3-4 years. So to tell you a lot, right? I mean, we're not the only one. Brace yourself, guys, and be strong, because like Rick said, sometime we're attacked on many prongs, pretty much on the information side, in your mind also, as your thought is being under attack. And yeah, we just need to be careful and just be open.
Now, here's the other thing about Trudeau is he is his own. There are people with knives out for him now, you see, because he is in deep trouble. Today, even the CBC is turning on him with, along with some of his closest members of parliament, liberal members of parliament, and even members of caucus, whose identities are not being revealed in this report. But look at the headline here. You know he's in trouble when the CBC, that's bought and paid for by Trudeau with our tax money, comes out and starts running headlines like this. It says right here, some Liberal MPs may quit if Trudeau stays on, CBC News learns. You know he's in trouble when a headline like that is in the CBC, the pro-liberal CBC. It says right here, some Liberal caucus members may not run in the next election if Justin Trudeau remains party leader. A Liberal Party source has told CBC News. The undisclosed Liberal MP believes the Prime Minister's leadership is damaged beyond repair. Justin Trudeau, friends, is in deep trouble.
Yep. The Liberal Party is crumbling in little pieces, and soon there won't be any pieces to hold down the rats inside the boat. As you know, when the boat sinks, the rat goes out. So.
Yes, indeed. And it's just what I was saying earlier. This is a guy who really embraced all of this progressive politics and this revisionist history. And when it comes to running a country and keeping a country together, it doesn't work, as we've seen during his reign of error, right? And it is terrifying. It has been horrific. Worst prime minister in history, probably the worst government we've ever had, ever. Not probably, absolutely, not even a close second. I can't think of another government, another prime minister that has been so destructive ever in the history of the country.
Same here. I mean, my opinion will tell you that I was a liberal long time ago, before Trudeau was on the path of being one liberal. But I mean, yeah, he has destroyed the image of the liberal government, and I think that nobody for a long time will not come back to the liberal just because of that. It has so hurt the liberal party that they should probably even stop being liberal party.
Yeah.
Change your name, guys.
Yeah. And so he's in deep doo-doo, and I don't think he's going to survive to the next election. I think they will turf him just like Biden. And actually, this may come as a surprise to some people, but even George Galloway over in the UK, he's been ousted from Parliament after serving just a brief 4-month term as an MP for Rochdale. He lost his seat to Labour by a margin of 1,400 votes. I'm sure many of you know who Galloway is. Controversial figure, I would say also a misguided soul who also doesn't really know his history, who secured the seat for the Workers' Party in a February by-election that was dominated by the Gaza conflict. He used Gaza and all that anti-Israel, anti-Jew rhetoric that he has embraced for a long time. He's absolutely anti-Jew. And he didn't have the courage to stand up on the stage and accept the defeat. Instead, it was revealed that instead of him winning, it was Paul Waugh who clinched the seat for Labour last night in that riding. He garnered 13,000 votes, nearly half of the total received by the late Labour MP Tony Lloyd in 2019, whose passing had necessitated that by-election, which was the one that was won by Galloway. But now here we are, just a short time later. He wasn't in office very long and turfed from the by-election to the main election, and now he's out. He only got 11,600 votes. So
that's pretty telling.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, maybe the voters realize that Galloway is even too extreme for a time when mass immigration is front and center as an issue. Voters there, I guess, overall looking for somebody maybe with a little bit more moderate stance, and Labor still taking an anti-immigration stance on this. So kind of checking the necessary boxes for the voters and, telling Galloway to take a hike. So a lot of people don't like him. Other people say he's a hero. I don't care for the guy myself. I find him to be rather distasteful.
Yes,
vile
well,
at times.
He had some comment in the past that I didn't like either. So yeah.
Yeah, here's
not the kind of guy I would take a beer with.
So this is Neil Kinnock. And, when I say some people don't like George Galloway, here's an example of a guy who really doesn't like George Galloway reacting to the Galloway loss last night.
Here.
Punching the air.
He is repulsive. Galloway is repulsive. He always has been. And I've known him since... He was a thorn in your side. Oh, he was never a thorn in my side. But because he didn't count. But, and I couldn't find a good reason to chuck him out, which used to infuriate me. But I've known him since 1983, and he is repellent.
Why'd you say that?
Well, he's such a chancer. Okay, he's so superficial.
Yeah, and that's kind of not an in-depth analysis of what George Galloway is all about, but he is an international figure because he has an online following. He has a podcast where he gets a lot of people watching because he pushes a lot of buttons and gets emotional reactions out of people. And he's very anti-government, anti-West. He wants to tear it all down, 100%.
Well, that's remind me probably of a certain Alex Jones, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a telling, something very telling for me a couple of months ago with Alex Jones. He was doing an interview with, who was it? I can't, name's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. He was asked, "Do you love America?" And you know how he responded? He didn't just say yes. He said, "I love the idea of America." He would not actually come out and say that he loves his country. For all its warts and all its problems, the beacon of freedom for the entire world, the United States of America, and Alex Jones would not come out and say the words. He qualified it by saying he loves the idea of America. That, for me, threw up a big red flag.
Yeah, it is. But
Yeah,
at the same time, I mean, a country is an idea, so yeah, okay. But at the same time, I mean, you should be proud of your country and what they have accomplished in the past.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
only not only the bad.
For me, it's like, yeah, I know we have problems. I want to fix them. I don't want to burn it all down. I don't want to destroy everything. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can't do that, man, because what are we going to replace it with? Well, we're looking at it. Authoritarianism, collectivism, fascism, or communism. People are being offered this choice, the same choices they've been offered through history, and neither one really works. So why the hell would we do that? Because people forget that there's a third option. It's not communism. It's not fascism. It's freedom. Real freedom. Real freedom.
And like you already said in the past, you don't have to destroy the system that is already, working kind of with some glitch and stuff. I mean, it's like an old car. You don't destroy a car. You just, take away the bad pieces, replace them by better piece, and repair the machine so it works fine and for everyone as much as you can.
Yeah, we need to get the corruption out. We need to fix the problems. But at the end of the day, too, I think what people don't understand is that a lot of the problems that our society experiences are problems created by people who throw, wrenches into the gears to bung up the system on purpose.
Yeah.
So that they cause a problem and then say, "Hey, you've got a real problem over there. I've got the solution. Communism."
Doesn't work. Nope. Well, not for me. And I mean, this is what we see with the pro-Palestinian encampment in a way. I mean, they should have probably bring the problem already to a state where soon you just want to get rid of them at some point, because if you stick with the problem, I mean, I don't like to use that analogy, but it's probably the best way I can come up with something that is similar. It's like if you would have cockroach at home, right? I mean, if you leave the problem there and you don't call the exterminator there on the first day, well, it's going to become a big colony, and the colony is going to be hard to get rid of at some point. So, I mean, not that that's what I think of him. It's not none of it, but it's the only analogy that I found, that right now it's like you're giving them permission to do things, and as much as they push the envelope, if you will, or the limit of the gray line before things happens or get dismantled, well, you get probably some problematic moments like this morning, and probably what's going to happen here soon if things doesn't come up to an agreement soon.
Any signs of that rally or whatever it was they said they were going to have at 8 p.m.? Nothing.
No, actually, I was following like 6 guys going on one direction, and I kind of lost I lost them at some point, but I'm back in McGill and I don't see any cortege. I don't see any rallies or whatever. So it's one of those nights like these that, probably have been told something just to make me look otherwise. But something's preparing. My spider sense tingling.
Well, you've got your eyes open and you're wandering around there. You are the eyes and ears of the public, literally out there tonight. And the winds of change are not just blowing here, but over in and not just in the UK, but over in France as well. And the candidates there are making their final pushes for a crucial second round of legislative elections this coming Sunday. This 3-week campaign that they've been on over there has been marked by significant tension, including instances of what is being described as hate speech, verbal abuse, and even physical attacks. The stakes are high, emotions running high. Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin reported that his ministry has recorded 51 incidents of what they're calling verbal and physical assaults against candidates, their deputies, or supporters during the campaign. Several of the attacks have been classified as extremely serious. The minister shared the information during an interview earlier today. 30 people have been arrested as suspects from a variety of different backgrounds, highlighting the widespread nature of the incidents. The targets of the attacks span the entire political spectrum, with both National Rally and left-wing candidates experiencing violence. And as the left-wing and moderate groups aim to prevent the anti-immigration National Rally from securing a legislative majority, tensions are notably high, of course, and the National Rally, which is led by Jordan Bardella, garnered the most votes in the first round on June 30th, but fell short of achieving an overall victory. So in preparation for this final round of voting that's coming up, 30,000 police officers are going to be deployed across the country, with 5,000 stationed in the Paris region. And Minister Darmanin is assuring the public that these measures are in place to ensure the election results are respected, regardless of the outcome. Gatherings outside the National Assembly have been banned in order to maintain order. A call for a protest has been issued by the Anti-Fascist Action Paris Suburbs group, planning to gather outside the National Assembly as the results of the election come in on Sunday night. So concerns dragging out there are mounting as the rise in support for the National Rally seems to be emboldening the use of pretty strong language that some people are even calling racist, xenophobic, and anti-Semitic. Now, at this stage in the game, I don't know. I'm not intimately familiar with politics in France or the National Rally. It does concern me, but I also see that at times people, especially on the left, accuse people on the right of being racist. I have seen instances of that where people are becoming racist and they're crossing that line because they can't see that the line is there, and they're falling into that trap. But at the same time, I see the racism on the left side of this political spectrum as well. I'm trying to stay in the sweet zone of freedom. We're seeing real polarization taking place in France. It's happening there. I'm afraid that maybe we're experiencing a repeat of history as we saw as a run-up to World War II. I'm very, very concerned about it. I can't say that, these are bad people or that they are racists. But there are elements of that in a variety of parties around the world right now. This is what I'm saying to people too. Yes, embrace your flag, embrace your country. It's okay to be a nationalist, but there's a line that you have to be very careful about, because if you dip into ethno-nationalism too much, if you allow that to direct your emotions and it turns into any kind of hatred or scapegoating, then that's where you get into real problems, because that's where you get violence. You it's exactly what I was saying. You demonize a particular group, they end up being dehumanized. That's the line. We have to be very careful about that. But the point here, I guess, the ultimate overall overarching point is that the winds of political change are blowing very strong in France as well. Any
Yeah.
comments?
Yeah, it's exactly true. And I think that this is where the people don't realize that where this kind of situation that you have here get global like this is not only, I would call that a protest at this point, it's becoming a movement. Remember what happened with the Freedom Convoy at Ottawa? I mean, as people was rolling on the highways toward Ottawa. Other people in other countries were doing kind of the same, not only in support for our protests, but actually for their own protests down there, and use that movement for their own purposes as what was their demand, if you will, for their own government. So I mean, this is the same thing that is doing that is going on right here. It's a movement. I think that it's becoming more growing, and it's rampaging around the world. And as much as it's gonna grow, the tension will also grow with the ongoing movement, I think. So.
I need to check my settings here on my microphone to make sure that I'm still okay. I think I am. You can hear me all right, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was making some changes while you were speaking there. So anyway, let's take a little break here, Dragon. I'm going to let you walk around a little bit more. No signs of this thing that was supposed to happen at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. It was supposed to be already. I mean, they were supposed to be there, and I have seen nobody coming. I've been, walking around the premise to make sure I'm not missing something. But no, it's
Doesn't
peaceful.
matter. They're just faking you out. But it's still great to have you live with us, regardless of what's happening on campus there. Anyway, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
The Roderick.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back. Let's get Dragon back up here on the screen too. I see that Joe Biden is trying to recover. So he's been out speaking in public. Big mistake. He's got problems, man. He was trying to turn up the juice here. But I don't know. You tell me after we watch this clip of Joe Biden trying to be all fiery and full of energy, showing people he's still got what it takes to be the leader of the free world. You give me your assessment. What do you think?
Trump is a convicted felon, found guilty, 34 felonies, trying to hide hush money payments to a porn star. Another jury found Trump sexually assaulted a woman in a public place, and he's been fined $90 million for defaming her. $90 million. They've only been bankrupt about 20 times, but I don't know. This so-called great businessman owes over $400 million in fines after being convicted in New York State of business fraud. Already convicted. Fined $400 million. Donald Trump isn't just a convicted criminal. He's a one-man crime wave.
What do you think? Has he got what it takes?
Well, he does have a little bit of strongness still there. I mean, he's trying to be strong and all, but at the end of the day, I'm sorry, but you came out flat, Biden.
Yeah, and even as he's doing that, and even as Kamala Harris is saying, I'm all for Joe Biden, he's good. Or I can't do, this is not her accent at all. This is just me making any old accent. But, she's saying she's going to stand by the guy. Meanwhile, you know what they're doing out there? The Democrats who are rallying around her are pushing possible running mates for Kamala Harris when she replaces Joe Biden, while she's saying, oh yeah, Joe's in it to win it, and I'm standing by Joe right to the bitter end until he quits, which is, I think, coming sooner than we might realize.
Well, I was still laughing at yesterday, I think, mistake of Mr. Biden when he said that he was the first black woman to
yes.
I mean, you know what, guys, I think I know what's going on, and this is my how you call that, this is my rabbit hole of the day. Okay, he has a chip in his mind, right? Probably somebody have put a chip in his mind, and it's Kamala Harris who's speaking in a mic, which make him talk. So she was thinking probably, or forgetting that she was not in front of the podium, but it was Biden at her place. I mean, that's probably a thing, but I mean, it's just my assumption and probably a dragon fact or not.
I think you're kind of on the right track, because I was going to make a Maverick Nights episode. I didn't have time to get it done, but the storyline was going to be that Joe Biden was under sort of foreign infiltration mind control, so that they convinced him that what he needs to do is to transform himself into a black woman in order to win the election. You see, so then Joe Biden does actually go through gender altering therapy or whatever, hormone therapy, and identifies as a black woman so that he can then become the world's first, or the America's first black female president, and therefore check all the identity politics boxes, which would then give him a political strategic advantage going into the election against Trump. And it's the only way that he could win. Is he knew that to win, he has to be a black woman. And he needs those extra couple of points with the voters in order to win. Without that, if he just goes in as a white male against another white male, he's going to lose. So he has to do the politically correct thing and transform himself into a black woman. What do you think?
I think that it's true, and probably I can, put a little bit more salt into it. You know that in about 2028, we're supposed to have a new technology that would allow us to suppress our mind into a cloud or something, and probably have a new body later to
Neuralink.
Yeah, well,
he get jacked in.
He's gonna jack himself, probably in a younger black woman later, and from there gonna try for a second term. Probably.
He'll just get Elon Musk to transplant his brain or whatever is left of it into the body of a black woman. I don't even want to think about this, but he's just jealous, Dragon, of Bobby Kennedy Jr., because because Kennedy's got a worm in his brain, right? So Biden's just kind of like trying to one up him with his Alzheimer's, and even that's not enough. So now he wants to be a black woman. I not just have Alzheimer's, so you shouldn't just vote for me for that. Because I'm a victim of Alzheimer's, I'm also a black woman, so I score points on that front too. So that's why the Dems turned around and did the hit piece on Bobby Kennedy eating a dog, and that's really bothered RFK Jr. a lot. For somebody who never actually ate a dog, he certainly seems to be taking it pretty seriously. Today, I'm on their mailing list, you see, and I got this in my email. Says the DNC smear attack machine is back with a nasty hit piece against Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in Vanity Fair. This article, filled with distortions and misleading information, is yet another tactic by the DNC political machine to undermine our campaign. One of the most egregious claims in the article is a baseless reference to a rumor that RFK Jr. once ate a dog. This ridiculous and unfounded accusation is an apparent attempt to distract from his policies and achievements. The article's timing and tone are no coincidence. A week after wrongfully being kept off the presidential debate stage, the DNC political machine is trying to destroy RFK Jr. They will stop at nothing to smear his character and divert attention from the real issues at hand. After President Biden's miserable debate performance, Democrats know they are in trouble, with many calling for him to step down. Whether Biden is replaced as the Democrat candidate or not, the DNC machine knows this will be a razor-thin election. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is poised to make history and win the White House. The last thing the DNC wants is a Kennedy on a ballot who is leading. I think he's worried about the dog thing. I think there might be more truth to it than people know. The Vanity Fair journalistic team did go to a veterinarian, and they asked, "Hey, that dog that carcass that RFK Jr. is holding up in that photograph, is that a dog or is it the goat that he claims that it is?" Well, we know that both dogs and goats, based on our research here at Maverick News, both have 13 ribs. There's the dog with 13 ribs. There's the goat with 13 ribs. But according to the Vanity Fair article, there's one telltale sign, something called a floating rib, which the veterinarian who was consulted by Vanity Fair exists in the carcass, which RFK Jr. was about to mow down on. So with that in mind, tonight, I offer up again this video presentation of RFK Jr. himself trashing his own campaign.
Who let the dogs out?
He is nuts and clearly disturbed. The Standard.
It's so new to me, what you do to me, hot diggity, dog diggity, boom, what you do.
He's angry at Vanity Fair. His own family hates him. The New York Post.
He lost
the dog vote.
He sounds like he's transmitting from another galaxy. He is so crazy. The New York Post. Kennedy is a humorless bully living in a paranoid fantasy. Vanity Fair. What the is wrong with Bobby Kennedy?
Oh, well.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I got that in the email today, and I just thought I have to run it again, because whether you believe it or you don't, it's entertaining. And that's what politics is sometimes about, right? If you can't have a little fun.
Sometimes it's a clown show and sometimes it's a serious show, but you got to, have fun. Just, enjoy the show like it is. Take some popcorn, have a drink, do something, but enjoy the show.
Oh, man. I have to say, if you want to know how to not run a presidential campaign, all you have to do is look at what Bobby Kennedy has been doing with his. it's been a it was a dumpster fire right at the very beginning, and it's been he's been stepping on one landmine after another. It really has been at times pretty disastrous. The only thing that I can think of that has been saving him through all of this is his name, just his name. And I don't think people have really begun to even look closely at what he's really all about. I think another night we'll start to dig into what he really stands for, what is real, like overall, a lot of the policies where he really stands on things, so that people can really understand who this guy is, what his policies are, and what might happen if he ever were to become president. And I don't think he really has much of a shot, to be quite frank, unless this whole Democrat thing just blows up in a way that makes that he becomes by default, a candidate alternative to Trump with no Democrat challenger.
Because I've been doing my own research, and I mean, since I was a young kid, my dad actually was pretty young when the Kennedy was around. So I mean, he did told me a little bit of the history back then, and it was something that I always been loving around. I mean, it was something I was curious about, and I will tell you that RFK right now is kind of what was JFK back then, but with probably what has changed from the politics back then in the 60s that is different today. I mean, there's a little bit of it into what his politic is on his own way, I think.
Yeah.
There's some similarity.
There's some things. There have been some things about RFK Jr. that I really like, and there's some things that I really don't like. I did not know this, but he wants to ban. Get this. He wants to ban natural gas exports. He doesn't want to sell natural gas to other countries. He wants to ban natural gas exports.
Yeah, because everyone's kind of selling their own gas to everyone. But if you keep your own gas and don't export, but just sell to your own country, this is kind of a micro economy that you're trying to create, I think.
It's not. I don't think it's about just keeping it for domestic use. It's about It's about climate change. That's why he doesn't want to do it. That was the motivation for that policy.
Also, he does want to get rid of the usage of
fossil fuels.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, that's just one example of many things that I think people have not really looked at closely with him. Do you know what happens if they ban natural gas exports from the United States? Here in Canada, we're trying to expand our natural gas exports, especially to Europe, which is an alternative for European countries who don't have access to supply from Russia, or maybe don't want to buy from Russia, especially because the Nord Stream pipeline was blown up. So we're building natural gas terminals on the coast.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, economically, it would hurt us more than anything. That's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, just one example, and we'll dig into more of that another night. It's we'll do that with all the candidates. I think we should look at where they're at on various policies. Maybe put a chart up and look across the board and say, where do they stand on this issue and that issue. It might be helpful to people, especially our American viewers. And we have about a 40% U.S. audience on this program, actually. So it might be very helpful to them. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to you, sir, for some final thoughts here tonight on Maverick News.
Well, before going on my final thought, I got a question for you, sir. Probably a little bit personal, but let's try it. What size of t-shirt do you wear?
Large or extra large, depending on how much pizza I eat.
All right, because I got a little something probably coming. I got an idea, and I might send you a little something just for the fun of it. It's a gift, but you're gonna enjoy it, I hope.
Well, that's very thoughtful of you. I'll look forward to that. Thank you, sir.
And for a final thought, well, guys, stay tuned because more's to come at Maverick Show. So you know where to find me. It's Dragon on Facebook, the One Rising Dragon on YouTube and also on Twitter. So stay tuned, guys.
And can I get you? I'm gonna throw some extra love out to Fat Laba, who endured my verbal barrage here tonight. And what would you like to say to Fat Laba? In what kind and loving words would you like to share with him this evening?
Fat Laba, please keep expanding your mind. You need a little bit of learning, or probably to look into the facts. And I mean, look, I will say that you got your own opinion, that's for sure, but you should expand. Look at every corners of the little question, because this is where you can get a turn on of your own idea, and probably change your ideas at some point, because you're going to agree on something that you wouldn't have not thought of in the past.
And I'm sure that there are a lot of things that he and I do agree on, many, many, many other things. And great respect for engaging with me and not just saying, screw you, I'm taking my bat and ball and I'm leaving. So,
if I may,
thank you.
Screw you, guy, I'm going home.
And you guys can support the channel by liking, sharing, subscribing, hit the notification bell on YouTube. And what do they have to do with their thumb, Dragon?
You got to do the thumbs up, guys, because we need more than 100. We want as much as we can. So please do yourself a favor. Keep the rewards going, because the algorithm need to find us somewhere in the corner of the earth.
And if you'd like to donate to the program, you can do that at maverickdonations.com. The other place you can donate is over at freedomreporters.com. And yeah, we do have these t-shirts left. $30 or more, I'll send you a t-shirt. $60 or more, and I'll send you an embroidered, I've got it here, but I won't show you, an embroidered Maverick News shirt, button up, kind of like the one I've got on right now. Sort of, this is my other shirt for the other show, the automotive program. But yeah, I'll send you a $60 more, send you one of those. Plus I've got those, I'm getting old, I gotta stretch. Oh, did you hear me creaking there? My bones are creaking. Hot Wheel 1/64th scale die-cast Batmobile collectible. I still have some of these. They're very cool, by the way.
I'm a Batman fan since I'm a kid, so yeah.
Yeah, so we've got those things. Oh, I'm going to share a little story before I sign off. Talking about old. I went to the bulk barn, okay? And I was buying just a couple of little things. Went up to the cash register. This was just yesterday. You know what the girl at the cash said to me? She looked up at me and she hesitated. And I was like, what did I do? And she's like, she says, I hate to ask, but do you qualify for the discount? And I had to stop for a moment. Discount? And then I got it. It's like, you see the gray? I said, why, yes, I do. I sure do. Yes, I do. I qualify for the discount. That's the first time it's happened to me. I'm a senior. I'm officially a senior now. So I don't know what the discount was. I didn't check the receipt. Probably like 10% or 5% or whatever it is. But I'll take it any way I can get it, man. Because it's Povertyville around here. So every penny counts, right? So absolutely. I didn't say, how old do I have to be? Oh, no. Whatever that age is, I need to be that old right now. So I embraced my old age at the cash register at the bulk barn.
Well, you should, because you know what? As much as we age, guys, it is wiseness coming to on the top of our head. So I mean, look, I'm getting wiser too. So
yeah, well, the older I get, and the more I learn, the more I realize how little I know, and
Rick,
that is true.
Remember,
wisdom.
You are our beloved fossil.
That's what I told the girl at the cash register. I said, fossil. I didn't ask how old I had to be. I'm old enough, man. I am a living, breathing fossil. So
if you used to listen to Rush and you were a kid, that's because you're a fossil.
Yes.
But
Anyway,
nobody's F with Neil Peart. That's for sure.
time marches on. It stops for no man, no woman, no, however you identify, no fossil in my case, and it will march on into tomorrow, and I will return at 7 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the Maverick News Channel. Thank you, everyone, and especially to Fat Laba for putting up with me tonight. Love you guys. Catch you all on the flip side.
Take care.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.